Hi everyone, Amy here, and today I have a fun and creepy stenciled Halloween card to share with you today. Now this Watching You stencil is from the October 2022 release at A Colorful Life Designs, and it's so fun and unique. I was really excited to play with this. Now I was trying to figure out the best way to do it because I really wanted the creepy guy here in the finished photo to be in black. I wanted it to be a silhouette. So the way I did that is by starting on some black cardstock, and then I'm going to use some white pigment ink to create the scene. So this is very black and white, not a lot of color, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I'm using my Wendy Vecchi station tool to kind of hold down the stencil and the cardstock and just masking off that edge, just because I did kind of kick the stencil over a little bit to the side. Now you can use pixie spray here to hold down the hand. I made it work without it, and I'm just pouncing this white pigment ink nice and thick with a blending foam and a wooden handle here all over the design. So you could use a blending brush, or you could even go a step further maybe and use this pigment and then emboss in white or something on top of it. So lots of different options, but ultimately I wanted to create the open part on the scene in white and then have the creepy dude as a silhouette in the window. So I'm just kind of pouncing and twisting my blending foam here and working over the entire composition. Now, pigment ink, as you know, will take a really long time to dry. So even though I do bust out my heat tool, I do still end up smudging here. So factor in that it's going to take some time to let an ink like this dry. So think about heat setting it, or again, like I said, you could emboss it to kind of expedite that process. But I'm just removing the stencil here and reveal this awesome design. I just think this is so cool. So obviously it's creepy, but it's also kind of cute creepy, I think. So just gonna wipe off this pigment ink off of my stencil and then use my heat tool. This is my Wow embossing heat gun, just to try and speed along the process. But like I said, I laid it down really thick, so even though I spent a little time trying to cook it, it wasn't completely dry. So I did have some smudges, but no big deal. You can obviously erase those off later. But here I have this stencil called Long Drips. It's like a creepy blood drip stencil. You'll see I end up creating this card base, but I end up using it for a future card. I don't end up using it for this card just because it didn't end up creating the look that I wanted. But I will do some ink blending here. I have this rouge color and then peppermint scrub. These are two colors from Catherine Pooler, but the rouge was dark enough, actually. It was so saturated that I didn't even end up needing the peppermint scrub. But I'm just kind of thinking, just because I cut down the panel with the creepy dude on it, I'm thinking just, across the top and to the left of the card base, I could have this creepy blood dripping behind it, just to kind of add another, scary element to the card. So I just kind of shift this over and mask off where I don't want it. It was really messy. It kind of shifted around on me, but it kind of added to the grunge factor. And I'm getting ink everywhere, all over the place. And I come in again, want to add a little bit more. All this effort for naught, because I don't end up even using this card base, but you will see in another video this month I did end up using that card base for another different creepy card in this lineup. So if you haven't noticed, what I've been doing every month with a new release is I end up creating a playlist for that specific month, and then as I release the cards relative to that new release throughout the month, they will all be in that one designated playlist. So I will have a September playlist. I'll link that below in the video description box. So if you want to check out all of the videos that I'm going to make for this specific release, you can check them all out there in that one spot. Now, I don't have a lot of Halloween or creepy inspired sentiments, so I decided to make my own. This is my label maker. And I do have all different colors of label tape here. So I decided to use the red because it matches well. So I'm just going to pop open my label maker here and switch out the blue label that I have in there with red. And then I'm just going to create my own sentiment. So if you don't have a sentiment think outside the box, use what you have, maybe a label maker, or if you have like alpha stamps, you can create whatever you want. So I didn't really have anything pertinent, so I decided to use the label and say creeper as my sentiment. So this is another stencil from the lineup. I decided to use that instead just because it wasn't quite as creepy, and it ended up working to create a better background for the look that I was going for. So the first card base won't go to waste. Like I said, I'll use it in a different card, but you know, if something doesn't work, just rework it or think outside the box and try something new. So here I'm realizing that the pigment wasn't quite dry and I'm getting thumbprints all over the place, but I do use some foam tape to pop up that stenciled panel and kick it down in the lower right. And then I just have that little essence of blood dripping off the top of the card. And I feel like that was a much better fit. So it was a way to tie in the red into the design, in the red of my label. Just going to remove the backer and make this a little bit shorter. And then where it does overhang the black panel, I just do a little tiny little piece of foam tape just to kind of support that label off the edge. So I'll remove this backer after I struggle with it for a little bit. These are kind of hard to remove. And then I'll just pop up some foam tape on the end where it overlaps so that it doesn't get crushed in transit. So fun way to use a creepy little stencil. This release is not all Halloween related. There is some really beautiful florals and fall, autumn related stencils as well. So be sure to check out the release. If you do shop, use my coupon AmyFan10 and you'll save on your complete order. And there is also a Master Creator Bundle if you want to have even a bigger discount. So thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.